Hi, it's Julie.
Yes. Hi, Janice. It's so good to see you.
Nice to see you too.
I'm so thankful you agreed to do this today.
Yes.
Just to like preface this video before we put it out there, neither one of us are wanting to bash magic ears. This is not
No.
about that at all. This is just about getting the truth out there because there's so many videos about how amazing magic ears is, and there are some amazing things about magic ears, but we feel that it's necessary to give both sides of the story.
Yeah.
Right? Am I, yeah.
Yeah, no, I think so. And I think it's important as you follow people that are really successful and doing really well, when you start to see them disappear, it is really interesting to find out why. There are people who Magic Ears is working really well for, and we celebrate that. But I see those people disappearing over and over again. And so it's interesting.
And ironically, I don't see a lot on social media when they disappear or why. So it makes me wonder a little bit why. And when I decided to do this video, without naming any names, I reached out to some people I knew that had gone before me. And a few people, there were 3 people specifically that responded with, I don't want to take part in your video because Magic Ears is still hounding me about videos that I posted in the past.
Oh, wow.
And so there's that. And I think anyone who's worked at Magic Ears knows about their social media presence. So I'm a little nervous about doing this, but I also, like I said, I just want to do it respectfully. So.
Absolutely. And I think it's really important to remember that regardless of how they do have that social media presence, you are your own independent contractor world. So I love to work with teachers at all different companies, and I love to talk to them about what they love and what they don't love. And it makes me a more informed online teacher for my own business. And so I think Magic Ears has to also remember it's not all about them.
Yeah.
Like we have our own online businesses and we're allowed to talk with each other and get our own information.
And for many of us, this is our career. Like we talked about before, some of us do this full time. I do this full time. And
as do I.
Yeah. And so this is my income, my livelihood, and so I think people should have the information to make educated choices.
For sure. And I know my very first company was VIP Kid, and I just was so excited to get in the industry. But when I added companies after that, I do start to search for like YouTube videos to help me with the application process. But then I also type in some keyword terms like I quit and the company name. And I can listen to them and figure out, like, sometimes it's bitter people who haven't been hired. Sometimes you can feel that
sometimes you can feel there's something else going on that they're not saying. Yeah.
But if you see patterns in lots of people's stories, I like to know that before I head into a new company. And there are a lot of choices in this industry. So I do think it's a really important thing that you're doing really bravely, just sharing out and trying to figure out like what experiences people have had in common. I think is just really smart about being an independent contractor.
Yeah, and I think it's like, I'm not trying to say don't apply to Magic Ears. I'm just trying to put information out there. I think it's important that everybody keeps their eyes and ears open, just to be maybe forewarned that these are some things you should look out for. So yeah, are you ready?
Let's do it.
I have a couple questions for you. So what is the reason that you applied to Magic Ears in the first place?
Sure. So I was at VIP Kid teaching full-time as an online teacher, and there started to be a lot of buzz, right? There's always like a company that everyone's talking about. So there's a lot of buzz with Magic Ears, and who knows why that was. Maybe they had just changed their referral bonuses. Maybe they had just had a surge of students they were trying to get teachers for, but there was definitely like a push, or maybe there was somebody who was a bigger name in the industry. who started to talk about it really loud. But there's always like a reason when a company's name starts coming up that much. So I listened and listened and listened, and really there were like a couple of things that caught my attention, and it was the room to grow, because at VIP Kid, like that ship has sailed.
Yep.
That was so like 65,000 teachers ago that you have
Yeah.
any chance of ever moving up at VIP Kid, which is fine.
Exactly.
But there's no room for growth at VIP Kid. And those of us doing this full time, that's never going to be a thing. And pay is now really below industry standard at VIP Kid. So sometimes the only way to get a raise in online ESL is to hop to another company. And those are definitely the two things for me, the opportunity for growth and the opportunity for a raise. Were why I went to just like dip my toe in the water and see what was even out there. And I loved that it was no risk because I was fully booked at VIP Kid and I could decide that wasn't for me at any time.
Yeah, exactly. Me too. Okay. So how long were you actually at Magic Ears?
I stayed about one full contract, which for me was about a little over 100 classes, maybe like 120, 125. It definitely felt like longer. It was by far the most
I'm just
stressful
kidding. We'll get to
time.
that. Yeah.
Yeah, by far the most stressful time in the 2 years I've been an online teacher. And I think it's good to have a little space from it. I have no regrets about leaving because I feel like I've gotten back that Zen online teacher life.
Yeah.
It wasn't
Did you, toward the end of your contract, did you just start to feel like dread for doing those classes? Like,
Oh
just,
yeah.
I
And
don't
the one
I don't
thing,
want to feel like that because I love this job. Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
And the one thing that Magic Ears has going for them, hands down, is their cancellation policy. It's great that you can cancel at a moment's notice. So if 10 minutes before
Absolutely.
class, you're in your Bonnie shirt
Yeah.
at your computer and you feel sick to your stomach and you just don't want to do it, which happened to me for weeks, you can totally just push the button and be like, no, I'm out. And you could cancel penalty free, which although is wonderful, I booked that slot for a reason. I booked that slot to make money.
Uh-huh.
So, it could have a higher base pay, but it doesn't matter if you're not getting bookings. And they might have a higher base pay, but it doesn't matter if I don't want to teach the class.
Yeah. Yeah.
So the cancellation policy is great, but I could just not open slots at all if I didn't want to teach.
Yeah.
I'm really trying to turn an income here.
Right, exactly. Okay. So did you find that the reasons that you applied to Magic Ears in the first place, did you find them to be true or false? Was it actually higher pay and, secondary positions turn out? I mean, how do you feel about all that? Did you find your initial reasons for applying to be true?
Higher pay was attainable. I would say it ended up being closer to even than higher pay, but my base rate was okay, and I appreciated that it was just the number of slots you opened to get your bonuses. It didn't matter if they booked, which was okay with me. But a lot of them didn't book, so giving that many slots to a company and holding them back somewhere else, I don't know if that was always super profitable, and I will always disagree with the requirement to log in early before class. So
Yeah,
that is
that's the thing. Like, I've been
stealing
able to
time.
do that, but many people can't do that. And so then you're closing the slot before that. So essentially you're missing out on a whole other class to teach this class. And
Yeah.
it's unpaid.
Right. And I don't know. It's not that I can't. It's not that I'm not tech savvy. It's that I shouldn't have to. I think that's
No.
one of those sticky issues. So they assume that I'm not going to show up for work.
Yeah.
And require me to take unpaid time to log in early. So the student I'm teaching at another company shouldn't have lag on my computer. They shouldn't have me distracted because I'm doing something
I have it frozen. Exactly.
Right. Magic Ears wouldn't want me to be doing that during their classes.
No.
And I have never no-showed. So I don't understand why I start being treated like a child instead of a professional with the assumption that I'm not going to show up for work.
Exactly. Yeah.
I think that was never going to be okay with me.
Yeah, that was never, it didn't sit well with me either. But once I figured out how to do it, but like you said, that's a very, very valid point because I'd be in like a VIP Kid trial and it'd be short notice because I'd short notice whatever didn't book it.
Because you have to.
Because I have to. But then, my trial student, well, I don't know them. They're not a regular, but I have to refresh the screen because it'll freeze when I log into Magic Ears. And you're absolutely right. That's wrong of me to do that.
Right.
That's really just not okay to not give your student your full attention. But I wasn't going to close a slot before and miss out on all that pay either.
For sure. So I think that that's something people need to think about when they look at the base pay or the pay offer as higher. If
Mhm.
every single day you're losing a slot at your other company, I don't know, like, are you still coming out ahead? Not sure.
Well, and the other thing is the feedback time. How much time did you invest doing feedback for 4 kids?
I never got in a groove where any of the feedback I wrote seemed meaningful at all.
None of mine.
Um,
I feel like I'm just writing three
Right.
random
So
sentences.
I stopped spending a lot of time on feedback because it didn't matter. I'm not wooing them for a rebook.
No,
They're not coming back to my classroom. There's nothing I do in feedback that benefits me as a teacher. I'm not in an opportunity where I can be successful to get the data on them I need to write quality
you're
feedback.
not getting trial convert
No,
money or
right. I'm not getting money for all the
so
trials I sign up.
you're
So,
basically writing three simple sentences. Bao Bao
yeah,
did great today,
right.
whatever. But even doing that, could you find time to do it in between classes, or did you have to
Oh,
invest time
definitely not.
after?
No,
Yeah, right.
right.
That's my point.
Yeah, no, that's definitely true. But I definitely didn't spend a long time on it because it didn't matter what tools they put in your face to use to
Mhm.
make it go faster. You were never going to be able to write quality feedback.
No, not for 4 kids, not for, and if you teach a group of classes in a row, you don't remember who you
Right,
just taught 6 classes ago when there's
right.
4 kids in each class. Either way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
All
I
right.
definitely agree. And as far as secondary positions, because there were two things,
Mhm.
my friends that got secondary positions were often the least happy.
Yeah.
So there was this group of teachers that was trying to climb and achieve that thing they came for, but I was really mindful of this other group of teachers who did have secondary positions,
And how
and
they
that
felt
was
about that.
when their experience actually became worse.
I
So that
find
was
that to be
really
completely
interesting for
true.
me.
Yeah.
Yeah. You had some secondary positions at Magic Ears, right?
Yes, I've had three. My first one was a voiceover recorder, which after 2 months just stopped with no notice,
Oh,
no nothing. And it wasn't just me, it was all of us. Like they must have got all the recordings and they were done with it, but they never let us know that. So our income was
wow.
just gone. And the second one, I became a supervisor. And I don't know if you followed any of the stuff going on with Magic Ears recently, but a few months back, they just stopped supervision altogether. So it used to be a great quality that Magic Ears would give their teachers feedback after they got a
Hmm.
low rating. That's not a thing anymore.
Yeah.
But not only is that not a thing, they did not give us any notice. So all the supervisors, they just yanked the rug out from under us one day randomly and said, "You're done now." And I mean, that was $1,000 to
Oh,
$1,500
yeah.
extra a month that we were bringing in.
Wow.
They just took away with no notice and in the middle of the month too, so that we couldn't get our bonuses for that month, of
Isn't
course.
that interesting?
Yeah. And they are still having their social media people tell people on the Facebook pages that they are revamping the system, but I will be honest, they are not revamping the system. They have told us now. Actually, Frank said last Friday in a live, so this is not any news that I'm giving out. He said, "Supervision is dead." That is a quote.
Oh.
And he
And it's
said,
but
"Stop
they've
asking
been
about it."
revising the system for a year.
Yeah,
I mean,
correct.
that's just the story,
Longer,
right?
even. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
always been. Yeah.
Oh, we're just new. Oh, we're working on that. Oh, changes are coming soon. Like, at what point are you not new anymore? And at
But
what
and I feel
point
like they
is it
jump
not in
from
revision?
thing to thing. Like there's people that are so invested in a project here making, things for the students or something. They're all invested. They're into it and then they just stop it. And then
Yeah.
they're all invested here, all head first and then
Oh,
it just
yeah.
stops. Like everything that they do, I mean, it sits with me the wrong way because as independent contractors or whatnot, this is our job. This is our
Oh,
money.
yeah.
This is our livelihood. And if I budget and count on that money and then you suddenly take it away from me, yeah, that's going to hit my heartstrings a little, you
Oh,
know?
yeah.
That's, yeah.
And
So,
you want teachers to be all in on the next project, but it's hard to be all in knowing that tomorrow it could all
yeah,
change.
the last time you just took it away from me,
Right.
so how am I supposed to, yeah. But so that, yes. And I was also an interviewer. So I have had three
Mm.
secondary positions. None of them have worked out. So I would say that was my number one reason for going to Magic Ears, and I now no longer feel that that is. I
Yeah.
I actually get very offended and annoyed when they continuously advertise for come here for secondary positions because guys, there just really aren't any. There's a few,
Right.
but they're not something that you can count on.
Mm-hmm.
So you may make, I mean, there's a few months where I brought in an extra 2 grand doing secondary positions for Magic Ears, but then they were just gone. So I could never
Right.
count on it. So yeah, I would advise against doing that if that's the reason you're going there. But
And that's really good advice. And when I was chasing secondary positions, that advice wasn't out there. And that's what I
yeah,
think is really important. You know, the same messages are the ones you hear over and over, and they're the ones manufactured by the company.
yeah, and
And
in addition to
it's hard.
what you said too about you watched your friends who did get secondary positions and move up, they were the most unhappy.
Yeah.
I will not mention any names in this live because I don't have their permission to, and
No,
like I
no.
said, I won't. But because I am a senior teacher and I've had so many secondary positions, and most of my friends are magic masters, they're not happy. They're the
No.
highest people in the company. They are the face of the company. I can't tell you how many ads I've been in for Magic Ears. I have
Right.
been in so many of their ads, their movies, and yeah, it's really cool to see my face out there for that. But here's the truth, like,
Right.
yeah, the further in I got, the more unhappy I was too. So that's definitely a true statement.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so in your opinion, how is the communication at Magic Ears?
By far the worst part. I mean, there's just no way that you can do the job they've asked you to do if they're not going to do their part and communicate with you. And
Yeah.
so there is altogether too much communication and not enough at the same time. Julie and I have talked about how like I had to take Skype off my computer for months after Magic Years because they call teachers around the clock. They have no professional boundaries. But
Middle of
then
the
if
night. They'll
you
call you in
were
the
to
middle of the
Skype
night.
them because they need something and they don't care.
But when
But
they
if
need
you needed
something.
something, a question about a class that wasn't working, a question about something you needed to do the job they're asking you to do, crickets.
No, yep, they're not there.
And so then it's your fault and you're stressed and you're worried, but they're not giving you the tools they need to make it happen. I actually
Exactly.
had a secondary position at Magic Ears. I used to run some of our workshops, and they kept changing the PowerPoint that they loaded into the platform for me. And
Yeah.
it's not that it wasn't one of my PowerPoints, but like you set up your stuff, you're like, it's 8 o'clock tonight. I'm going to be teaching about whatever. And
Hmm.
then I log into my own class that I'm the teacher and open my platform, and there's something else in there. And the first time you're like, oh, hey, maybe it's a mistake, whatever. No, they just had teachers who wanted to learn about a different topic. They don't tell you. They just upload something different. And so then you're like, hey, this happened during my workshop. And they're like, like, oh,
Oh, wow.
okay. So, I mean, that's the thing. Like, you're chasing these secondary positions, and then you have more contact with home office, more communication, and then you realize that maybe that actually wasn't what you wanted.
Yeah, yeah. And the time invested I found for completing these secondary positions is not worth the pay oftentimes.
No.
A lot of times there's more required than what is initially presented, if that
Hmm.
makes sense. So
Sure.
just be careful what you're getting into. As far as communication for me, the only thing I wanted to say is their primary form of communication is either they're going to Skype you personally when they need you right now,
Right.
or they're going to post something on Facebook. And if you don't see that post, then you're kind of SOL for lack of better, because they don't generally send out emails. They don't have a company newsletter or anything. So
Right.
that's how they do updates, Facebook,
Right.
which is kind of, in my opinion, very unprofessional itself. So
And even if I'm on Facebook a lot, I mean, the nature of Facebook, that's not what it's supposed to
you're
be
still
used
gonna
for.
miss things.
That
Yeah.
feed's moving. You can't check and
Yeah.
make sure you've seen everything.
Well,
It's
and as
very
far
hard.
as communication too, their primary, because it is Facebook, they have this Magic Ears family page where everyone
Yeah.
is supposed to come with their concerns, but they have a social media team. Again, many are my friends, and I am not bashing them because they're doing their jobs, but they literally have scripts of things to say. And if your comment, question, concern is a little over the line that Magic Ears doesn't think that maybe you should be bringing up that topic, denied. It won't get put on there.
Right.
So they don't always address concerns, and that's always been a problem for me. Why not transparency? I don't
Right.
understand that. What are you hiding? That's just
Right.
always been
If
my
you're proud of what you're doing, then you don't mind. And I
yeah.
think that's unfortunately why this is one of the few companies I've seen that people do have to spread the word in other ways, because most companies, it's very open on their Facebook page and
Hmm.
teachers can have dialogue with each other.
Hmm.
Magic Ears is the only company I've been to where they purposefully pay people
Hmm.
to keep
Make
people
sure
quiet.
it says unicorns and rainbows, and that
Right. And
yeah.
that's very concerning in itself.
Uh-huh.
In the Q&A group, I think it's positive because they're making sure there's a place for hires to get native speakers giving accurate information about the company. I think that's a really positive social media role. But once you're a hired teacher, again, they're assuming you're not going to be professional. It's a
Well,
lot
and
like
then
logging in
the
early.
question is posed, why do you think they're not going to be? I mean, what has happened in the past that you're trying to hide? What are you not willing to answer? There's reasons for all of this stuff,
Sure.
you
To
know,
be investing that kind of money and time into that, there has
into
to be,
hiding something.
yeah, there has to be a lot that's being hidden to
Yeah,
make it a paid position.
exactly. And many people who are paid to do it
Oh, yeah.
around the clock. Yes.
Right.
Yes. All right. So let's see. The next question is, did you find the Beijing staff to be professional? We've kind of touched on this a little, but
Yeah, overall, no. There was one staff member that I worked with that I found to be helpful and professional. It was the person I closed out my time with when I had my like exit interview. I
yeah,
was like, I just want to be really clear so spots don't open up on my schedule that I didn't know about. Like, I just want to make sure you understand face to face, like
I'm
I'm
done.
closed.
Yes.
Not like I hope you reconsider. I hope you start opening up slots soon. That's not my plan.
Yeah.
Please understand. And we had an okay conversation about it. I wouldn't say it was filled with all truth, but it was okay because my bags were packed and it was fine. And it was
Yeah.
very professional. That's again, we're not here to bash or make drama. That wasn't my deal. I didn't come with a laundry list. I came with only like top 2
Here's
suggestions.
my concerns.
Right.
Here's
Be aware of
yeah,
this. These are
yeah.
some reasons people are not very happy with the way things are going. Here's a way you could turn this around. It's like a gift on the way out.
Yes, and I think many people have given them those gifts and they choose not to open them. So
It's true. And I'm okay with that. But then you sleep at night knowing that you closed
knowing
out
you
your
tried to
professional
help
time.
and you know you
Yeah.
didn't no show, you didn't screw them over or anything,
Yeah.
you did your
But
part.
I would say by and far, if you follow people at Magic Ears on social media, how they portray themselves is not professional. When you have a media clip into a Facebook Live into their office situation, I don't find it to be a hardworking, professional atmosphere. And when you're a teacher and have needs that need to be solved and things that we need to make the company successful, and you don't see that happening during working time, it's hard. It's
Yeah.
hard to be behind them when it is kind of like a very, very young staff who
Mhm.
doesn't seem very focused on business.
Yes, yes. Okay, I completely agree. Let's talk about the ranking system. How do you feel about that? Do you think
Um,
it's sustainable?
I think it's really interesting how much red tape there is. If you really, really read the ranking system, it's not you will have 80% bookings, it's you might.
Hmm.
You will have 100% bookings, you might. So people love to come to Magic Ears because the company books for you. So if they've had a negative experience not getting bookings somewhere else, they're so grateful that they will show up to Magic Ears and their schedule will be full at this high base pay and they will make so much money.
Yeah,
And it's just not what happens.
no,
So, like you said, it's very unstable. You could be making thousands of dollars at one time, and you could wake up tomorrow and it could dry up for no reason.
gone. Hmm.
And you don't ever know anything about student bookings and who's getting them and who isn't. And we're not allowed to share schedules on social media. So
No,
you can't be
you're
like,
really
oh,
not allowed to do anything on social
right,
media except to say,
right,
I love Magic Ears. Bonnie's my favorite. That's
right.
it.
But you can't figure it out. So you're like, Julie's a senior teacher. I'm a senior teacher. We both open 20 slots. Julie has 20 slots filled. I only got 6. You're not allowed to do that. Those
No.
are the kinds of posts that they don't want people to see.
No, not only that, they also have yet to have any sort of anything in writing to state how you can attain these
Right.
rankings.
No,
So
they won't tell you.
and they change their mind on it all the time. I can say because I'm a senior teacher, and I had a meeting with someone very high up in headquarters not long ago, maybe 4 weeks ago, asking, what can I do to become a magic master? And I can tell you the responses I got were that I was in the top 3 to be a magic master for 3 to 4 months in running, like in a
Right.
row. And
Mhm.
what they do to see this is from the mouth of him, like this. I was told
Oh,
this,
yeah.
so I'm not presuming. They sit down in an office. They put examples of one of your class, one random class they pick up on the screen. Everybody in the group watches it to see how you are as a teacher. Not only that, then because of the social media and how they do, they actually have, and I have seen screenshots of this, they have from the Facebook page, not
Mhm.
only the family page, but the Q&A page, how many times you've liked, disliked, posted, how many posts you've actually put out there, and
Right,
how many times you've commented on other people's posts, and they compare them with everyone else.
right.
So the people who are more present on social media get more points. And then the other thing, so it's social media presence is a huge thing.
Mhm.
And also in new news, referrals. I did not have enough
Oh.
referrals to be a magic master.
And if they had told you,
That's not part of my job, for starters. I
right,
didn't come here to refer, I came here to teach. But yes, if they would have told me. And then lately, like, it's apparently a big deal how many classes you teach too.
right,
So, and it's not in writing anywhere. And I
no,
feel like so many things have changed. This is off topic of this question, but so many things have changed with the contract. Like, you sign your contract, it says XYZ, but they decide to change things on a
right.
whim. And even though it's in your, like, the 60 slot bonus used to be open 60 slots anytime you get the extra dollar, they changed that in the middle of a contract with no warning to anybody. Now it's 60 peak time slots,
Right. And
which
all
were only
companies
four.
are panicked about peak times right now. Every
Yeah,
week they're like, please come here for peak because teachers
yeah.
have voices. And I think that's really healthy in this industry. I think it's great for all of these companies to know, to see the data black and white. When Frenzy comes, that if their teachers are not opening up PPT times, like why? You
Yeah,
have to reflect and find that out. But
yeah.
so you can strong arm and you can make a big thing out of it, but it has the opposite effect. If you're
Mhm.
going to punish teachers for not opening up PP time, well, now more of their
We'll
slots
just
go
go
somewhere
somewhere
else.
else. And the thing is, over Christmas too, VIP Kid offered so many incentives for, opening. And so, like, why would I? This is my job again. Why
Right.
would I not go where I'm going to make more money?
Well, and
That's
I made
the simple bottom
$120
line.
over Christmas break in just bonus pay at GoGo Kid. So,
Yeah.
and like I have shopped around and I laughed at VIP Kids bonuses
Yeah,
because
and
I
they were,
couldn't
I'm not
guess.
saying,
And when
and
I did the math, I was
and
like,
they
I'm
were
losing out.
so different for everybody too. It wasn't just something standard. Everyone got different emails based on
It's
what.
that
It's
transparency
kind
again,
of a
right?
joke, yeah, but nonetheless,
Yeah.
it was still something where
Yeah.
Magic Ears is saying we're punishing you now for not opening enough slots,
Right.
and instead, other companies like GoGo Kid will
Right.
give you money for that. And I've heard they had incredible incentives over
It was
Christmas,
incredible.
actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, it doesn't work out to their benefit. Like it's not my business, it's not my company. But now teachers came for higher pay at Magic Ears. Now they can't even get the second dollar bonus, so now their pay isn't higher. So I
Well,
don't know why you would open. Now you're opening less slots. Now you
that's
don't have me for
exactly.
PPT or any
Yeah.
other time.
That's exactly what happened to me, because when I started there, I was offered the highest base pay possible because I
Yep.
had my TESOL and I was qualified. They've changed those qualifications now. Again, they've changed everything. But at the time
Yeah.
I was hired, I qualified for that. So I started out with a $10 pay, and then at the time, every 6 months they were giving raises. I don't think they've officially announced this yet, but they are no longer doing that either.
Wow.
Yeah, so they changed it a while back to say, okay, now junior teachers will also get a raise. Now
I remember that.
they changed it again. Now
No.
junior teachers get nothing. So if you're not a senior teacher or a Magic Master, you don't get that 6 month raise anymore either. But they haven't announced that to anybody. You'll
But
find
again,
out when
how
you get your
and
contract.
how do you become a senior teacher?
Right. There's
Right.
nothing to know that. Yeah.
Right.
So my pay essentially went down $4 an hour. So I went back to
Wow.
doing slots at VIP Kid. And then
Right.
yeah, so I mean, we vote with who we work for, who we open classes, who we open
Right.
slots for. So it's a pretty simple concept.
And I no longer open up far, far in advance. I used
Me
to just
neither.
like open as a full-time teacher who always teaches the same slots. I used to open as
Me
far out. I've
too.
opened 6 months in advance at
Me
VIP.
too. No more. Now I open it the
No.
day before, sometimes a week or two before if I know I want some, but I don't need to, because if
I
I,
open Sunday night because then I can lay all the math on the table. Everyone's
yeah,
incentives are in. What are you offering? You do the math and then
exactly.
you follow the money. And I don't understand why companies aren't paying more attention to that.
Yeah.
But I know that I will book wherever I am.
Hmm.
And we do have choices.
Yeah, we do.
I
We
don't
do
have
have
to
choices.
open up far in advance.
Exactly, exactly. This conversation is going on way longer than I planned. I'm sorry, Janice.
It's okay, Julie. I'm glad we're doing this. This will be, if it's helpful to one person, I'm really grateful.
Yeah, me too. I'm just worried it's going to be so long that they're going to be like, okay, I'm done. But I have a feeling that's not going to happen. It's
It's all
probably going
good.
to be interesting information that'll be put out there. So